National Curriculum. Framework, Pakistan. Ministry of Federal Education and Professional Training. Table of Content. Chapter 3. 12 Process of Curriculum Development. 12. 3.1 Foundations of Curriculum. 12. 3.2 Curriculum Foundations for Pakistan. 12. 3.3 Aims and Objectives of Education. 16. 3.4 International Commitments, Global Challenges and Learning Needs of 21st Century. 18. 3.5 Guiding Principles for Curricula in Pakistan. 18. 3.6 Interweaving Goals of Curriculum for Pakistan. 19. 3.7 Steps of Curriculum Development. 23.8 Guidelines for Revision and Development of Curriculum. 20. 3.9 Selection of Content. 25. 3.10 Organization of Contents. 25. 3.11 Delivery of Curriculum. 27. 3.12 Assessment and Evaluation of Curriculum. 27. 3.13 Challenges of Curriculum Development in Pakistan. 27.
Chapter 3. Process of Curriculum Development. Curriculum can be viewed and defined from various angles. It is designed keeping in view multiple considerations and needs. In different countries, goals, objectives, structure, content, and implementation strategies of curriculum may vary corresponding to their diverse socio-economic contexts. Since curriculum relates to and influences children, schools, teachers, economy, and polity of a society, and consequently future of a country, hence multiple stakes are involved in its preparation and delivery. Therefore, participation of all stakeholders in the process of curriculum development and reflection of their viewpoints, aspirations, and values in the curriculum should be ensured. Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted by the United Nations in 1948 recognizes that the parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. 27. This means, parents are the most important stakeholders of curriculum development. Elected public representatives also convey wishes and views of the community, which consists of parents as well. 3.1 Foundations of Curriculum. Commonly referred foundations for curriculum development are listed below. I. Philosophical considerations. 2. Psychological aspects. 3. Social/cultural factors. 4. Historical factors. V. Economic considerations. 3.2 Curriculum Foundations for Pakistan. The following constitutional and policy provisions form basis for the foundations and objectives of curriculum in Pakistan. 3.2.1 Constitutional Foundations. The following constitutional provisions provide guidelines for the formulation of aims and objectives of the curriculum, and its content. A. Preamble to the Constitution. 28. Preamble to the Constitution lays down that sovereignty belongs to Allah and that in the state of Pakistan, I. The principles of democracy, freedom, equality, tolerance, and social justice, as enunciated by Islam, shall be fully observed. 2. The Muslims shall order their lives in accordance with the teachings and requirements of Islam as set out in the Holy Quran and Sunnah. 3. The minorities shall be allowed to practice their religion and develop their cultures and their rights fully safeguarded. 4. Fundamental rights shall be guaranteed. Preamble also refers to the declaration made by the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-i-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that Pakistan would be a democratic state based on Islamic principles of social justice. Point 29. These constitutional provisions are the basic guidelines to develop a broader framework for the curricula. B. Islam as the state religion. 30. Article 1 declares the name of the country as Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and Article 2 declares Islam as the state religion of the country. See Fundamental Rights. 31. Chapter 1 of the Constitution begins with the statement that any laws inconsistent with fundamental rights of the Constitution to be void. This chapter has 24 articles that guarantee various fundamental rights, including freedom of movement, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom to profess religion and manage religious institutions, right to information, right to education, and safeguard against discrimination in services on the grounds only of race, religion, caste, sex, residence, or place of birth. D. Safeguard in respect of religious education. 32. Article 22 has 3 subclauses. First subclause provides protection to all persons against receiving any religious instruction which is other than of their own. Second subclause guarantees that there will be no discrimination for any religious community in granting exemption or concession in tax to its religious institution. Third subclause states that no citizen will be denied admission to any public-funded educational institution on the ground only of race, religion, caste, or place of birth. E. Right to education. 33. Article 25A, right to education inserted through 18th Constitutional Amendment makes the state responsible to provide free and compulsory education to all the children of the age from 5 to 16 years, irrespective of their race, religion, gender, or place of residence. F. Right to preserve distinct language, script, and culture. 34. Article 28 states that any section of citizens having a distinct language, script, or culture, have the right to preserve the same and establish institutions for this purpose. G. Provision of basic necessities of life to all. 35. Article 38, d, states that the state, as a principle of policy, is responsible for provision of basic necessities of life including food, clothing, housing, education, and medical relief for all such citizens without any discrimination. H. National and provincial languages. 36. Article 251 declares Urdu as the national language, and requires that arrangements are made for its use for official and other purposes. All curriculum documents, therefore, should be in national language as well. Clause 3 allows provincial assemblies to take measures to teach, promote, and use a provincial language in addition to the Urdu language. 3.2.2 Vision and Objectives of National Education Policies. Education policies reflect the aspirations of the nation and are generally prepared through wider participation of all the stakeholders to achieve national goals as set out in their ideology and philosophy of life. In Pakistan, the educational policies framed from time to time derived their vision and objectives based on the strengths and motivation provided through the guidelines given by teachings of the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, founder of the nation, constitutional provisions, national and international commitments, societal norms, diverse cultures, traditions, and practices. 3.2.3 Curriculum and National Education Policies. Educational conference held during December 1947 was the first national-level consultation to deliberate upon and outline future steps and policy actions for promotion of education in the country. In his message on this occasion, Quaid-i-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah emphasized that education policy and programs should suit to history and culture. 37 and address modern needs including scientific and technical education. 38 The conference also resolved that education system in Pakistan should be inspired by Islamic ideology, especially focusing on universal brotherhood, tolerance, and justice. 39. Commission on National Education, 1959, recommended emphasis on character building and focus on science and technical education, national language as medium of instruction and religious education. 40. The Commission in its report stated that our education system must play a fundamental part in the preservation of the ideals which led to the creation of Pakistan and strengthen the concept of it as a unified nation. 41. National Education Policy approved in September 2009, put forth various priorities which all the feed rating unit. 3.2.4 Education Vision. 3.2.4 Education Vision. Our education system must provide quality education to our children and youth to enable them to realize their individual potential and contribute to development of society and nation, creating a sense of Pakistani nationhood, the concepts of tolerance, social justice, democracy, their regional and local culture and history based on the basic ideology enunciated in the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. 43. The educational vision of NEP 2009 emphasizes importance of creating learning opportunities that can help all children and youth in Pakistan to realize their full potential. This vision highlights that the aim of education is to contribute for national development and creating Pakistani nationhood. It underlines that education should foster tolerance, social justice, and democracy in new generations, and preserve regional and local cultures and history, an ideology enshrined in the Constitution. 3.3 Aims and Objectives of education. Some of the aims and objectives related to curriculum development given in the National Education Policy 2009 are given below. To revitalize the existing education system with a view to cater to social, political, and spiritual needs of individuals and society. 2. To play a fundamental role in the preservation of the ideals that led to the creation of Pakistan, and strengthen the concept of the basic ideology within the Islamic ethos enshrined in the 1973 Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. 3. To create a sense of unity and nationhood and promote the desire to create a welfare state for the people of Pakistan. 4. To promote national cohesion by respecting all faiths and religions and recognize cultural and ethnic diversity. To promote social and cultural harmony through the conscious use of the educational process. 6. To provide and ensure equal educational opportunities to all citizens of Pakistan and to provide minorities with adequate facilities for their cultural and religious development, enabling them to participate effectively in the overall national effort. 7. To develop a self-reliant individual, capable of analytical and original thinking, a responsible member of society and a global citizen. 8. To aim at nurturing the total personality of the individual, dynamic, creative, and capable of facing the truth as it emerges from the objective study of reality. 9. To raise individuals committed to democratic and moral values, aware of fundamental human rights, open to new ideas, having a sense of personal responsibility and participation in the productive activities in society for the common good. To revive confidence in public sector education system by raising the quality of education provided in government-owned institutions through setting standards for educational inputs, processes and outputs and institutionalizing the process of monitoring and evaluation from the lowest to the highest levels. 11. To enable an individual to earn his/her livelihood honestly through skills that contribute to the national economy and enables him/her to make informed choices in life. Page 17. All the above 11 objectives of the National Education Policy 2009 can be grouped into curriculum foundations discussed under 3.2 Curriculum and its foundations in the following matrix required to be kept in view as a reference point when the details of the curriculum framework and its implementation are worked out or while framing the detailed curriculum, appraisal or revision or development, for each subject and while assessing its implementation and performance of all the stakeholders. Matrix of Objectives of NEP 2009 and Curriculum Foundation. Curriculum Foundation's Objectives of National Education Policy 2009. Philosophical and Historical Foundations. Social, political, and spiritual needs of individuals and society. History of Pakistan or Pakistan Movement. Basic ideology of Pakistan as given in Constitution. Unity and nationhood. Social and cultural foundations. Respect of all faiths, religions, cultural diversity for national cohesion. Equal educational opportunities for all citizens. Facilities to minorities for their religion, cultural and economic development. Social and cultural harmony. Psychological foundations. Personality development for a self-reliant individual. Analytical and original thinking responsible member of the society, civic education. Global citizenship, emerging trends and themes of 21st century. Do creativity and openness scientific approach, discovery of truth through research. Democratic and moral values, fundamental human rights, open to new ideas. Productivity for common good. Do improving quality of education standards for educational inputs and outputs. Standards for educational processes. Monitoring and evaluation. Economic foundations. Participation in productive activities in society for the common good. To enable an individual to earn his/her livelihood through skills. Contribute to the national economy to make informed choices in life. Apparently, economic foundations may not be so explicit in the above objectives, although objective number 9 and 17, given in NEP 2009, refer to participation in productive activities, acquisition of skills for livelihood and contribution for national economy. 18 page. 3.4 International Commitments, Global Challenges and Learning Needs of 21st Century. Pakistan, being a part of the larger world community, has signed a number of conventions, frameworks, and development goals which require it to align its education system to the learning needs commonly agreed by the Committee of Nations. Pakistan has supported Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, and thus committed to take steps for the fundamental rights agreed by the world nations. Article 26 of this declaration proclaims that access to free elementary education is the right of all human beings. Similarly, since Pakistan has ratified Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC, in 1990, therefore, it is bound to offer educational opportunities that facilitate full development of the child's personality, and teach children the respect for human rights, promotion and protection of cultural identity, language and national values of the country, peace, tolerance, equality of sexes, and friendship. During 2011, Pakistan ratified UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, UNCRPD, of 2006 which obligates the member states to ensure provision of educational opportunities to all disabled children and also emphasizes inclusive environment for their full potential and personality development. Pakistan has signed the Sustainable Development Goals, resolved by the United Nations in 2015. SD Obligations, Provisions of National Education Policy 2009, Targets set in the Vision 2025 and international commitments. The following guiding principles for curricula emerge as common and essential for the whole of Pakistan. I. Faith based on teaching of Holy Quran and Sunnah as well as ideology of Pakistan. 2. National integration through knowledge about history of Pakistan, patriotism, equality of opportunities and social justice. 3. Respect for the rights and freedoms of minorities as envisaged in the Constitution. 4. Promotion and protection of a national identity. B. National and provincial languages, and C. Cultural diversity in the country. V. Democracy, tolerance, peace, nonviolent resolution of conflicts, and global citizenship. Page 19. 6. Holistic development of child through optimum cultivation of abilities and discovery of potentials for promotion of life skills. 7. Scientific knowledge, research, technical, vocational and agrotech training, and other relevant skills for economic development. 3.6 Interweaving goals of curriculum for Pakistan. Keeping in view the essence of curriculum foundations discussed earlier in this chapter, following core objectives of curriculum should, therefore, be kept in view while framing the curriculum in all the feed rating units of Pakistan. To strengthen national integration and foster patriotism through transfer of information and knowledge about Pakistan movement, and character building in accordance with Islamic faith and human values. 2. To promote social cohesion and harmony among the provinces, regions, and areas in Pakistan through equality of opportunities for all sections of the society, especially for the disadvantaged and vulnerable groups, including religious, ethnic, and linguistic minorities, women, and persons with disabilities, in accordance with the rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution of Pakistan. 3. To preserve and support national, regional, and local languages as well as cultural heritage to appreciate cultural diversities in Pakistan. 4. To inculcate in all citizens the tolerance for difference of opinions and beliefs, culture of peace, resolution of conflicts through nonviolent means, and equality of human beings. V. To nurture passion for democracy, democratic norms, social justice, respect for law and prepare citizens having realization for civil rights and responsibilities. 6. To equip children, youth, and adults with abilities of critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and foster amongst them an aptitude for scientific inquiry, leading to creation of new learning and knowledge. 7. To develop human resources needed for sustainable development and knowledge economy and achieving national prosperity through technological advancement. Curricula developed keeping in view the above guiding principles and goals will help all feed rating units of the country and sections of the society to individually and collectively contribute for national integration and socio-economic development, uniformity in diverse cultures, unity in diversity, as well as development of common core standards for teaching profession, students' learning achievements, textual material development, learning resources required in schools, and evaluation of the whole system. 20 page. 3.7 Steps of curriculum development. Curriculum experts have proposed sets of sequenced actions or steps for planning and development of curriculum. For example, following 7 major steps for curriculum development have been identified. 44. Diagnosis of learners' needs and expectations of society, formulation of learning objectives, selection of learning content, selection of learning experiences, selection of learning activities, determination of what to evaluate and the means of assessment. In short, process of curriculum reforms consists of following main steps. Assessment of needs. 2. Setting goals and objectives. 3. Selection of content. 4. Organization of content and learning experiences. Strategies for delivery and assessment. 6. Field research and evaluation. Each of the above 6 steps contains within it a number of complex courses of actions or exercises involving research, reflection, contemplation, or making choices amongst various alternatives. However, utmost care is required to be taken in decision-making at each stage. This necessitates that the whole process of curriculum review and development is planned and conducted purely in a professional manner with active contribution of a sizable team of independent unbiased experts and should not be overshadowed by a few or by external political influence. The process of curriculum development, therefore, should be characterized by the following features. 45. Planned and systematic, inclusive and consultative, led by curriculum professionals, cyclic in nature, sustainable. 3.8 Guidelines for revision and development of curriculum. In many cases, specialists associated with curriculum bureaus have long experience of education sector and have developed expertise in their specific disciplines. Most of them have acquired such expertise through learning by doing, as no regular mechanism exists for professional development of staff working in curriculum bureaus and textbook boards. Page 21. Curriculum reforms in Pakistan have remained a top-down process and lacks prior need assessment, broader consultation with stakeholders and piloting before framing a final draft. 3.8.1 Need assessment. The process of curriculum change or development of an entirely new curriculum should be initiated in the light of evidence-based research. Need assessment should not be limited to inviting views of curriculum developers, textbook writers, and teachers only. Other stakeholders and beneficiaries of education system should also be consulted. Need assessment may consist of following processes and steps. A. Review of existing scheme of studies. Scheme of studies is the first step in the educational program, which identifies the subjects to be taught at different levels of education, indicating weight, age, and time given to each subject. Major policy decisions are taken in the scheme of studies about the following: I. Levels of education with timeline, i.e. ECE/pre-primary, primary, middle, secondary, and higher secondary. 2. How many and which subjects are the compulsory core subjects for each level of education? 3. How many and which subjects are the elective subjects for each level of education? 4. What subjects are the optional subjects for each level of education at the discretion of the schools or students or the department? V. How many subjects are examinable and non-examinable at each level of education? 6. Time allocation for all compulsory, elective, and optional subjects as well as co-curricular and extracurricular activities. 7. Decision about the start and duration of the academic year. All the feed rating units may continue to adopt and implement this scheme. However, the provinces/areas may review the existing scheme to adjust it to their local requirements and needs of their students, but keeping in view the national standards and uniformity as well as the global trends. B. Review of existing curriculum. The existing curriculum may be reviewed to identify key learning areas which need to be updated as a result of creation of new knowledge in the world, or changes in theories, principles, social and economic needs, demographic changes, individual and societal needs, emerging trends, etc. C. Content analysis of textbooks. Teaching learning materials used in the schools may also be reviewed to find out gaps, if any, between curricula and its manifestation in the textbooks. 22 page. D. Feedback from schools and teachers. Teachers should identify gaps in the scheme of studies, curricular contents, textbooks, learning resources, and address these gaps effectively. They should also provide feedback to education and curriculum authorities to help guide future reforms or changes in the curriculum. Curriculum bureaus may design and conduct special studies to discover and collect information about issues of curriculum implementation at school level. In addition to the above, other stakeholders like parents, scholars, researchers, public and private sector academic organizations may also be consulted for their feedback. E. Analysis of examination data. Data generated by the examining bodies should be analyzed with respect to achievements and shortfalls of students in various subjects, and their repeated inability to demonstrate mastery in certain content areas of different subjects. F. Findings of assessment surveys, National Education Assessment System, NEAs, and Provincial Education Assessment Centers, PEAC, periodically conduct large-scale studies to measure learning achievements of students with respect to curricula. These surveys reveal valuable findings about competencies of teachers, difficult areas where students and teachers have demonstrated low scores, and other background factors that influence quality of learning. These findings can serve as valuable source of guidance for curriculum reforms. G. Needs of national economy and international market. Research should be carried out to ascertain views of employers in the industry and other fields of economy as well as the related government departments about deficiencies in capabilities of graduates. They should also be consulted about future needs of human resource development for the national economy. Findings of such a research on the market needs and trends at international level may form basis for changes in the curriculum. H. Study of curricula of other countries. Curriculum bureaus should keep abreast with curriculum changes taking place in other developing and developed countries. This is vital to enable the country and its graduates to compete with other nations. 3.8.2 Formulating objectives of curriculum. Educational objectives help the society to translate its values and needs into an educational program. These serve a means for attaining goals and a guide for assessing achievement of these goals. A national curriculum framework explains broader aims and goals for the education including curricula. Curriculum objectives of different subjects or subject-specific learning outcomes are identified based upon specific needs relating to that particular subject. As such, the objectives of a subject curriculum indicate as to what students should have accomplished after successful completion of curriculum of a subject. Objectives/learning outcomes should preferably be stated in behavioral terms, i.e., what changes should take place in the knowledge, skills, and attitudes of students. Page 23. 3.8.3 Considerations for formulation of curriculum objectives. The following aspects or points should be kept in view while formulating curriculum objectives. Level of development of the society, developmental needs of the learners, competencies of teachers in the school's physical facilities and learning resources available in the school's needs of the national economy and values, international/emerging trends. 3.8.4 Key features of subject curriculum objectives. Curriculum objectives of a subject are characterized by following key features. Specify the expected performance, by the students after delivery of curriculum, and nature of evidence needed as an indicator for satisfactory performance or accomplishment. Cover various learning domains as per various taxonomies of educational objectives, e.g. cognitive, psychomotor, and affective, etc. Simple, realistic, and specific. Clear and precise enough to plan learning experiences for the students and assess extent of achievement of objectives by them. Reflect needs of students, teachers, as well as the society. Indicate benefits both to the learners and the society. Use action verbs, e.g. count, multiply, write, draw, explain, describe, and distinguish. 3.8.5 Elaboration of curriculum objectives into competencies and SLOs. For the guidance of textbook writers, teachers, and evaluators or examiners, curriculum objectives are further elaborated or interpreted in various subsets or more specific and simpler milestones. Different countries adopt variety of formats for writing of curriculum documents. In Pakistan, before 2005, the main curricula document included a matrix consisting of objectives, concepts, contents, and evaluation strategies. The curriculum documents of various subjects prepared in 2006 onwards follow a set pattern of 4 components, namely, competencies, standards, benchmarks, and student learning outcomes. Curriculum 2006 defined 46 these as under: A. Competency, a key learning area which may consist of more than one standard. B. Standard, a standard, in the context of curriculum, defines, elaborates, or breakdowns a competency into simpler milestones or subsets of competencies, expected to be acquired by the students. Standards are what students should know and be able to do. C. Benchmark. If defined generally, standards, benchmarks and competencies can be used interchangeably. However, in the context of Pakistan's 2006 curriculum, benchmark further elaborates standards. Benchmarks progress through developmental levels of students, in terms of age and grade. D. Student learning outcomes. SLOs in education, student learning outcomes, or expected learning outcomes are used interchangeably. National Curriculum 2006 defines that SLOs are built on the description of benchmarks and each benchmark has different number of student learning outcomes. SLOs are what students should know and be able to do for each topic in any subject area. The above diagram elaborates the linkages and hierarchy of competencies, standards, benchmarks, and SLOs. Page 25. 3.9 Selection of content. Content includes concepts, themes, ideas, facts, principles, theories, information, and skills that are to be imparted to the students for achievement of curriculum objectives. In the context of subject curriculum, this is the main body of knowledge which students are expected to learn, understand, relate, analyze, and apply. Content listed in the curriculum help the textbook boards and authors in developing textual materials and organizing information in a sequential manner. 3.9.1 Criteria for selection of content. Utmost care and professional insight should be used in the selection of learning content. The following principles should be followed as identified by experts. A. Relationship with curriculum objectives. Only those contents should be elected which have educational value and are directly related to the curriculum objectives. B. Priority and significance. The contents should be prioritized and shortlisted based on their academic significance for the learner and the society. Content which contribute towards introducing and understanding basic concepts and ideas and help students in achievement of curriculum objectives, should be accorded priority. C. Validity. The contents relating to natural or applied sciences should be selected those validity has been established. The contents of social sciences and humanities should be harmonized with national values, regional and local culture, and official sources of information. D. Relevance to life. Preference should be given to those contents which relate to the real-life situations and surroundings of the learner and emerging trends. E. Inclusiveness and diversity. Contents should meet learning needs of various categories of learners, including pupils from different strata of the society, i.e. students' socio-economic background, gender, location, and ethnicity. F. Feasibility. While selecting the contents, curriculum planners should take into account the feasibility of successfully delivering the content to the students, in terms of time and resources. 3.10 Organization of contents. Development of scheme of studies usually takes precedence to the contents selection. Systematic and sequential organization of the selected contents in accordance with the difficulty and interest level of students increases their learnability. For more effective delivery of contents and to foster amongst the students the desired changes, certain co-curricular activities, exercises, experimentations, and out-of-school interactions are also included. 26 page. Principles for better organization of contents as well as learning activities are being suggested below. 3.10.1 Horizontal and vertical organization. Horizontal and vertical organization is important dimension for arranging curriculum content. Horizontal organization of content is based on correlation of contents that need to be delivered during the same academic year, grade, or course. In horizontal organization, contents are to be arranged with respect to their scope and integration, whereas in vertical organization, contents are organized keeping in view their sequence and continuity. These are elaborated below. A. Scope. It relates to the extent of coverage or spread, breadth and depth, of the curriculum. For example, it may include all varieties and types of educational experiences, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, that are to be offered to the students. Curriculum designers will have to decide as which topics, concepts, themes, principles, and competencies are to be covered or included at each step of a unit and level. B. Integration. Contents are to be organized keeping in view their interlinkages or horizontal relations. For example, in case of physics, students may be introduced to work out relationship among various variables, like force, energy, volume, acceleration, etc., through various formulas. While reaching this stage, under the subject of maths, students should also be imparted knowledge about different mathematical operations and skills corresponding to the formulas applied in the questions and exercise of physics. C. Sequence. Contents are to be arranged keeping in view their logical relationship and chronological order. Organization of contents should be built upon understanding of contents offered previously, in a systematic flow. Sequencing is interlinked placement of content within a subject. For example, in language, in the beginning we introduce simpler two-letter words and then gradually move up to complex or more than two-letter words. D. Continuity. Depending upon the nature of contents, there is a need to repeat those at various stages or grades, with a view to reinforce their comprehension by the learners. In this repetition, depth and breadth of concepts are also enhanced gradually. This is also called spiral recurrence and enrichment of the curriculum contents. For example, numerical fractions are normally introduced in elementary mathematics or in initial grades and algebraic fractions in higher grades alongside mathematics taught in earlier grades. 3.10.2 Articulation and balance. In addition to horizontal and vertical dimensions of organization of curriculum content, two other aspects, namely, articulation and balance, are also to be kept in view by the curriculum designer or curriculum writers. A. Articulation. The dimension of articulation in curriculum contents is similar to sequencing. Sequencing is within the same grade, course, or level, whereas page 27. Articulation is across various grades or subjects. Sequencing across levels but within same subject is called vertical articulation, whereas sequencing across different subjects taught at the same level or grade is called horizontal articulation. B. Balance. This aspect aims to ensure that a balance is maintained in the distribution and allocation of contents, time required for their mastery, and availability of learning experiences and various other factors which can affect quality of learning. Another important principle of balance may be that no content should be extensively explained and given extra time at the expense of some other contents. 3.11 Delivery of curriculum. 3.11 Delivery of curriculum. The curricula are delivered through textual materials developed by textbook boards and/or publishers. This is a very delicate task and requires a lot of hard work and experience for elaborating the curriculum contents into textual and learning materials. It involves the processes for selection of authors, collection of relevant resource materials, explaining key concepts considering the scope, sequence, integration, continuity, articulation, and balance, selection of relevant illustrations and activities, editing, reviewing and approval, designing, etc. Chapter 4 discusses in detail the development and the approval process of textual and learning materials. Once the textual materials are ready and made available to the students, the teacher's responsibility is to deliver the contents with the intention these were framed and at the same time help the students to understand the concepts and contents successfully. The content knowledge and the pedagogical skills of teachers are most important in this regard. Hence the qualifications and experience of the teacher play an important role in the delivery of curriculum content. Further details are given in Chapter 5. 3.12 Assessment and Evaluation of Curriculum. In education, assessment and evaluation is a continuous process and have two dimensions, i.e. evaluation of curriculum and assessment of learners. Curriculum needs to be evaluated periodically, with respect to its objectives, content, and methodology. During evaluation of curriculum, functioning of various components and support systems of education sector and relevance of their capacities to curriculum objectives are assessed. The assessment of learners is done by teachers, examining bodies, and assessment systems in the country. The classroom assessments are done by teachers and mentors. Examinations are conducted by schools and by examining bodies, whereas assessments of learning achievements of students at the national and provincial level on large scale are carried out by the National Education Assessment System with its counterparts in provinces. 3.13 Challenges of Curriculum Development in Pakistan. All provinces and some of the areas have organizations responsible for curriculum and textbook development. Hence, it is assumed that provincial bureaus of curriculum, directorates, or authorities, follow scientific methods for the preparation of curriculum. Theoretically, this 28-page may be true, but still there are inadequacies, gaps, or weaknesses at various levels, which should be diagnosed, recognized, and abridged. A few are enlisted below. A. Understaffing. Curriculum organizations, bureaus or directorates etc., are not staffed proportionate to the volume of the task assigned to these organizations. In other words, these organizations are understaffed. B. Relevance of expertise. In certain cases, capabilities of staff posted in these technical organizations do not match with professional requirements of curriculum development for various subjects. Convenience of employee and discretion of administrators dominate the posting and transfer decisions, instead of relevance of competency of the candidate to the mandate of the organization. Few provinces have introduced special cadres for teacher educators and curriculum specialists. Whereas in some cases, any teacher from a school or college can be posted in these curriculum bodies, irrespective of relevance of his or her qualification, experience, and aptitude for the new high-order professional task. C. Absence of mechanism for continuous professional development. There exists no inbuilt mechanism for in-service training of specialists posted in various curriculum-related bodies to upgrade their knowledge and widen their exposure. D. Inadequate participation of stakeholders. Committees for curriculum of various subjects are though formed, but these lack adequate representation of all stakeholders. Limited participation of stakeholders is partly determined by the financial constraints, and partly due to the reluctance of committee focal persons to look for new talent beyond their circle of acquaintance. E. Lack of field research. Ideally, a curriculum change should take effect or initiated as a result of research in the schools, findings of assessment studies, trends of examination results, or job market analysis. Normally, curriculum change in Pakistan is a top-down phenomenon. No research is conducted by curriculum-related bodies on the effectiveness of curricula, suitability of textbooks, or capabilities of teachers to deliver the curricula. There is a complete disconnect between those who design curricula and those who implement it.